Derek Moneyberg here. You're about to download some key money-making philosophies in your head with this next lesson. And once you do, go to moneyberg.com and let's accelerate your success even faster. I mean, a few approaches. I'll probably hit it from a couple angles, but first we got to decide, I suppose, what is your time worth per hour? I don't like to think about life that way, but honestly, I really don't. But what is your, you got to think of what is your time worth. And the reason I say that, you're going to speak back and forth. We're going to be back and forth, so give me just a second. The reason I say that is, like, if you don't know what your time is worth, then you don't really have a metric to measure what are the things that you're supposed to be delegating or not, And, I have a friend, he's quite wealthy. He's a couple $100 million net worth, rather liquid, and he has a business that's making I don't know, over 100 million a year in revenue. It's maybe 140, 150. And for the private equity guys here, what they would pay for that business is, it's maybe $1 billion business. He's 100% owner of that. And he says that when he hires a new executive, he tells the executive, he's not an easy guy to get along with. He's very fussy. He wants things just the way he wants them. Not everybody is as kind and agreeable as I am. So he's very, very fussy. He wants things just how he wants them. But he tells the executives it's your job to solve every problem in this company that's worth under $20,000 per hour. And he says, you will never contact me. You will never contact me for a problem that's worth less than $20,000 per hour. He said, when you do contact me for a problem that's worth less than $20,000 per hour, that's when I know that you're incompetent and you're not accomplishing what I asked you to. And at that moment, you'll be fired on that phone call, and I'll find somebody else that can solve problems that are worth less than $20,000 per hour. Now, I'll tell you a couple of thoughts that I personally have about that. On one hand, I think that it really makes the point of understanding what your time is worth and delegating things that are lower on the list, On the other hand, I think it's communication error. I don't want to have people in my company I don't want an executive in my company scared to call me. I want anybody that I work with, I want them to talk openly with me. They're not going to waste my motherfucking time. They're not going to come and tell me some stupid shit. I don't give a shit if your fucking dog died. Yes, I expect you to show up at work. I don't give a shit what happened. I don't care if your sister is sick and she wants you to watch the kids. I never want to hear some shit like that. Nobody that works with me would ever give me a phone call like that. But I also want open communication. That I wouldn't want people on an executive level. I'd like them to call me and have more of a casual communication style and share things that are noteworthy. Because when you say things as strict as this guy does, I think you put some real barriers there that you're going to have some blind spots of what's going on in your company that nobody wants to tell you. And when good news happens in a company, how quick does good news travel through an organization?
Very fast.
Immediately. And how many people are responsible for it?
Everyone.
When something good happens, the boss hears about the good news right away, and everybody is responsible for this good outcome, When something bad happens in your company, well, how quick, nobody likes to talk about that too much. And whoever's talking about it, they're certainly not responsible, right? So, you need to know where the problems are in your organization, and you need to have people around you that are, smart enough. Which you're addressing in that. You want somebody that's competent. You said you want somebody that's more competent than you doing some of this stuff, or at least as competent. Of course, great. So that's one model, A different thought about that is, I don't like to have, in my projects, I don't need a lot of people. I don't want a lot of people. But the people that work with me, you're going to work every day. Even a new assistant, even a new boot camp assistant, you're going to work every day. We're going to work 366 days this year. You're available on a call 366 days. And if I ask you to come somewhere, we're not going to argue about it. You're going to, I don't care where you're at in the world. If I text one of my guys and told them, I need you to be over here, at this time, they're coming. It's not even a conversation. I need you to be here at this time. If I said that, they would just, it's not even going to be a conversation. It's going to be, okay, I'll make it work. Okay, I'll make it work. All right, and now, some of those guys are getting paid, double what their peers would be with a similar level of education. I like pay for performance, and I like to be around top performers. So, I got a kid that works with me. He's making a couple $100,000, maybe 180 last year. He may make over $200,000 this year. And I like pay for performance. He's 21. He's 21. But you know what? He graduated high school early with highest honors. He graduated college early with highest honors. Anytime this guy worked for me for free for a year, for free. Not only for free, he paid for his travel expenses, he paid for all sorts of expenses, did all sorts of grunt work for me, did anything that I asked him to do, for a year. If they're not going to work with, a new intern is going to work with me for a year for free. And they're going to pay for all their own travel, and they're going to pay for their Uber, their flight, their extra luggage that I asked them to carry around the world. Whatever I asked them to do, they're going to go pay for it. The housing, they're paying for everything. I might buy a cheeseburger on occasion. And if I ask them to buy me a coffee, they're going to go buy me a coffee. I'm not even going to reimburse them. They're just going to go buy me a coffee. All right. But you know what? If those people stick around, if you look at any of the guys that travel with me, the guys I spend my time with, some of you guys know these guys. Well, the guys that have been around with me for a couple of years, they're all wearing Rolex watches. Who paid for those? They're all wearing Rolex watches. They're all, they're making $150,000, $200,000 now. So I want somebody that's super well qualified. I know that's not practical in a normal circumstance. I get that. And I'm going to give the ball back to you in a minute so you can refine our conversation. But I don't want somebody who's not very dedicated. I don't want them around me. And if people that I have people that I pay that I don't even know their names. Those guys manage them. I have no idea what their names are. I have no idea where they live. I have no idea. I'd say, is this the blah, blah, blah getting done? And there's 2 or 3 people there's 2 guys I talk to constantly. There's 3 people in my private business that I talk to almost every day. 5 days a week, there's 3 people that I'm constantly in touch with. And they better know if the blah, blah, blah is done or not. I don't want them to have to go check on it too frequently. I want them, they already know where other tasks and other things that I want done, they already know where that's at in the process, But I don't want to, if I got to motivate a guy to do something, if I got to motivate him to show up for his own success, fuck that guy. Fuck him. You got to find somebody that, I don't know, you just understand the properties that a human has. There's some humans are just utterly useless, men and women. So for some of them, it ain't even their fault. Some of them, they're born a turd. If you got an IQ under 83, it's illegal in the United States. You can't join the U.S. Army. You can't join a military service with an IQ under 83. It's illegal because they know that those people will fuck something up. And that's about 13% of the world's population, So there's some people, it ain't their fault, but they're just too fucking stupid. They're going to find, you can't even use them for a human shield. They're going to find a way to fuck it up, Literally. Quite literally. All right?
The U.S. Army intelligence test designed for that purpose.
The IQ test. This is the history of the IQ test.
Right.
The history of the IQ test is, World War I era is, the U.S. Army developed the IQ test because they knew some people, no matter, they'll just find a way to fuck it up. All right? So you can't allow those people in the organization. And you think about what an army is. How many people do you want in your military force? How many competent people do you want in your military force?
As much as possible.
Yeah, all. Wouldn't that be ideal? Like the ideal number to have in your military force would be all of the competent people versus the incompetents. So.
I think I know that from you. I think I know that from watching your videos.
Yeah, I've talked about it a few times. No, it's a shame. Some people, it ain't their fault, but you got to find somebody who, if they don't want to do the thing, just fuck them. Let them go do something else. You got to find somebody who has the skill, yes, is qualified in terms of skill set, but also has an internal motivation, internal locus of control to want to go do something. And if not, they're just not going to do it. Success is not for everybody. Success is not for everybody. Most people are going to fail. Most. It's going to be disgusting. I was thinking about math yesterday because I'm a nerd and I do things like that. I thought about, that, not even a joke, at 4 in the morning, I was having a conversation with a buddy today, 4 in the morning, we were talking about, mean, median, mode, average, in a little statistic stuff. And it's like, well, the median number is not the average. Median and average are 2 different things. The number the number in the middle, where the person in the middle of society, the type of outcome that a median person is getting, whether it's in his dating life, whether it's in his financial life, the median number is still below average. The median number might mean 50% are doing worse than that person, but that doesn't mean that that person's above average, because when people have a lot of money, it's easier to go get a lot more money. A guy who is already having a lot of success with women, is he going to have a median amount of women, or is he just going to go pop, 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 pop? So when you think about it in terms of averages, if you look at median income versus average income in the United States, I know median household income is about $59,000, $60,000, and I'm not sure whether I'd have to look it up. I would think it's something like 87,000 is the median income, the average. But those are skewed by people that some people have nothing because they either did nothing or they're the idiots that we talked about. They're either other idiots. It's not their fault, but they are idiots. Or they were competent people who choose to do nothing. Those are the ones that I really like to make fun of, that they chose to be down there when they could have. They had the potential and the ability to go do something better, But it's more than 50% are way below average. It's maybe 70 or 80% are having below average outcomes. Because it's just Pareto Principle. Also, what we're talking about is Pareto Principle, or the 80-20 rule. That some of you might know the Pareto Principle by that term, the 80-20 rule. That the top 20% of performers are probably getting 80% of the results. And when you think about numbers, you think about income. First of all, do you guys get that? Do you guys follow that math? It's it's like 70 or 80% of people are below average. It's not 50. Do you understand what I'm saying? Who's fuzzy about that? I'm not going to pick on you, I just want to articulate it. Somebody here is going to be an artsy guy, and you're probably very smart and talented, and I'm not going to make fun of you, but who doesn't understand that math? I want to explain it a little better. I don't believe you. I'm not going to pick on you, I'm telling you, I just want to know. Everybody in the room actually understood that.
Yeah.
All right, you did or did not?
I did.
Well, 70 or 80% are below average. And it's not hard to be at the 80th percentile of anything, for fuck's sake. And think of some of the things that you guys are good at, that you have a real expertise, It wouldn't be hard to be in the 80th percentile. If you worked on something for a few months, you could probably get into the 80th percentile of a lot of things. And then it gets incrementally tougher after that. In a few months' time, you guys could probably be in the 80th percentile at many things, The decisions you're making right now, later in life, you're going to be in a situation where you're going to have a good friend or a family member or a colleague or an ally, somebody that you care about, somebody that helped you in life, that you really care about, you respect that person, but they're going to have some crisis in their life later, and you might want to help them. And the way that you're going to be able to help them or not help them, the determinant of that is what are you doing today? Are you doing things today to go create a surplus for your future wealth? Are you creating enough wealth? Are you creating enough abundance for your future that not only your needs are met for your whole lifetime, but also when your friend, when your family member, when somebody close to you that you really care about has a crisis later, you're making a decision if you're going to be able to help them or not. And you know what? It's a whole different ballpark to be able to tell somebody, when that event happens, and it will happen in every one of your lives. In every one of your lives. Well, you're going to make a decision right now. Is are you going to be prepared? Did you care enough to do those things early in life to create that tremendous wealth, to create that tremendous abundance, to have much more than you need, that when somebody you care about has a problem, you're like, oh, let me help, I can take care of that. You know what? And they're going to say, if it's a good friend, they're going to say, no. Say, no. You remember that one time years ago when you helped me with that one thing and you didn't need to? I really appreciate that. Let me say thank you. And it's really up to you if you're going to be able to be that type of person or not. You're going to decide. You don't get to decide at that moment. No, it's a lifestyle choice, bro. Are you doing the things today that you're going to go get that money? Are you doing the things today that you're going to have an abundance of resources so you can live the life you want, you can help your friends how you want, you can take care of your family, your loved one, whatever you care about in the world, whatever you care about. If you don't care enough, nobody else should care about you. If you don't care about that, why would anybody else care about you? I respect a guy that shows up and is just honest with himself and honest with the group. That's not something that a guy says and he's happy to say that to everybody, But that is when a guy says something like that to me, and he's not bullshitting himself, he's not bullshitting us, it gets my attention, Gets my attention, be like, all right, whatever happened before is done, homie. Nothing you gonna do about it. You ain't gonna rewind it. Nothing you can do about it. So, you take the lessons that you learned from something before, and, you don't do that dumb shit in the future. You take that emotional leverage, that feeling of disappointment, and why would a guy be disappointed? Because you know that you weren't performing up to your full potential in the past. So you take that emotional leverage that you get from that feeling of past disappointment, and you make sure that your performance in the present and that your performance in the future is never going to be fucking disappointing again, yeah? That make sense?
Yeah.
Now, a guy that doesn't have that emotional leverage to push himself, kind of if you didn't fuck something up before, is that guy really going to be the most motivated guy to go get something done? Probably just not, man. Probably just not true, If you're going to have one of these moments in life where you stand up in front of 100 people and you say, you know what, I've been kind of a fuck up, but I'm at a place in my life where I'm going to turn it around now. What should I do? A lot better to have that conversation at 25 than 35, eh? A lot better to have it at 35 than 45. So, that it ain't ideal, and you just said that, but it ain't a guy that you can pick on or make fun of either, It's like, all right, man, you're 25, stop doing that shit. This video is brought to you by Moneyberg.com. I want you to go to Moneyberg.com right now to see where you can meet me live when I come to a city near you. I want you to be part of our audience. I want you to be part of our elite success programs. I want you to be part of the fun. Most importantly, I want you to ensure your success and your financial independence working with me while we travel around the world and help people live their dreams. Go to Moneyberg.com. Success is closer than you think. It's waiting for you there.